That's been a main focus. And, somebody started it in the 60s. Where's my dad? And I can't think of his name, but what is his name? That's it, Scoop Garzai. Yeah. And he did a great job marking the trail across Nevada. And over the years, a lot of them were destroyed purposefully or not by all sorts of people, from people using them as target practice to maybe even Department of Transportation just plowing over them and making a road or something, I don't know, doing some construction. So we replaced some and we've made more markers, and that's what our presentation is about this morning. So we'll talk more about that. But we found a trail just outside of Blue Diamond. It's really pretty. You can see from the highway, and it's a pack mule, kind of like a little train. And then if you keep on going up Blue Diamond.
It was really fun for me because Spanish Trail was kind of something I just learned about in my history class, but now, as it is to me, as I'm sure it is to all of you, it's kind of a big part of my life, or at least a big-ish part of my life. So, I'll just take you through. I'll try not to tell you too much about each one, and I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the history yet, but I do know how to get there, how to get to each obelisk. So that's kind of where my main area of expertise is. So here is the first one. This is number one. And so we'll through a lot of trial and error that one type does not work with everything. And then we just give it a brief description. So my project was kind of just the last puzzle piece to a lot of different Eagle projects that had already gone into the old Spanish Trail to find these. What's difficult is that we didn't know before exactly how many trail markers we had in Nevada. First we thought it might be 29 or 31. So this project of mine was not only to find it, and I had the help of a ton of great people, including Ashley, but to figure out what the numbers were and exactly how many there are, and take pictures of them.
Hey, did you follow Snyder?
Just trying to find it, so I had a lot of different resources. I had to use Ashley's knowledge and the book and just wing it a few times, but we were able to find them all.
Aidan?
Yeah.
Trail marker number 3 is the most famous of all of the old Spanish trail markers. It has appeared on the national.
It was all fun to go and see. So like I said, this one's on the east side of the mesa. And then you'd have ones like these, marker number 4. This was just terrible to find. This one is out right in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mesa. It's kind of off of a trail-ish, but very hard to find. And you can see here we have the FJ Cruiser. I had a lot of great people come and help me. I think we had about 15 or 20 people. We split up into 3 groups, and we started from north to south. We combined all our coordinates, and then we ended up having to go do it again a second time. So this was a lot of hours of driving, and it was kind of an adventure. And this one does have the painted number. Yeah.
Yeah. Where these markers are, can you actually see the trail? And are you seeing a 2-track wagon trail or a single mule trace?
It depends on the marker, but usually you can see parts of the trail.
Good. A 2-track.
2-track, yeah. Yeah, so this one we were lucky enough it has a number on it. A lot of them did not have a number, and so this one was pretty easy. What's that? Quickly, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah. Yeah. So we tried to get a couple different angles of each one, because when you're trying to find these markers, it's the most helpful thing you can have, other than coordinates, is a really good picture. So from this picture, we try to get it so that you can see the road, you can see that it's on kind of the top of the hill and right over this thing. You can see the trail right here. Yeah. So here's marker number 8, maybe the easiest one. This is an AM/PM gas station in Glendale, right in front of the building. You can see it. I think it was actually taken down before, right where this one was. Is that right, Ashley?
There was one around there somewhere.
Yeah, they put the crowds out.
Yeah. So this one is very close. Yeah. I have to point it a little closer. Here's marker number 9. This one's next to the railroad tracks. You can kind of see in this previous picture. Pretty sure that those are the tracks right there. And it's halfway between Glendale and Hidden Valley. This one is also kind of in the middle of nowhere, but number 9, as you can see. So it gets a little more difficult when you don't have the numbers. But here's number 10. This is in front of Dave Coon's place. This is Hidden Valley on the side of the paved road in front of Dave Coon's ranch. I'll go back to this picture so you can see.
Okay. Approximately how far?
How many of the signs for Michaelson were there? We had some of them before we ever got involved. Because if you notice on the schedule up here, it says the Spanish Trail. Ours were put in as the old Spanish Trail. How many of each? Do you know?
How many old ones, how many new ones?
The old original ones that were put in 1963 and 4.
Yes.
As part of the Nevada Centennial.
How many?
There were 31 of those.
And how many?
But they,
For me, it was a little bit cool to have some of them be in the middle of nowhere.
Along the same lines, what about a trail, an easier trail to those spots? Would we like to see that?
Yes, and an interpretive sign can sometimes eliminate vandalism. Because
Yeah.
you see it as something significant.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly, that's true.
And another question, there was that one that you said was at Love's, across from Love's gas station
Yeah.
on 91. Is that the Love's station that is?
93.
93. Okay, we'll move back good. Is that the Love station that is south of here?
I think it's north of here.
No, I saw it in, yeah, north.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
it
first
is.
big Love station that's out there?
Yeah, that's one of the ones you can see if you know where it is and you're looking for it. That's one that you can see as you're driving on 93.
At this point, I crossed the Spanish Trail about 8 times on my trip.
Yeah, you can totally see it then.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna hear at 3:30 to 4 from Emily Kessler about the National Park Service mobile app. And the idea there is that on cell phones, people traveling along could follow, and this would be ideal to key in some of your
coordinates.
of the list to that. So she would say,
hey,
you know,
Jack, we
2
can't
miles.
hear you.
Well, there's a
National Park Service is creating a mobile app. And so people traveling along the highway, I-15, can listen on their cell phones, and they could be told that 2 miles ahead, you're going to come to an old Spanish Trail marker. So you need to make sure that they're aware of your key ones, especially where there are signs or cultural significance.
Yeah.
How many of these did you install as compared to local?
He said, how many did I install compared to how many did I locate? My part of the project was not to install any of these. I didn't put any of these obelisks in. Mine was just to find them and find out about them.
How many obelisks have been installed by OSTA?
In the last 10 years or so, how many did we install?
Yeah, repeat the question, would you?
How many of these obelisks have you installed in the last couple of years?
Obelisks that you put in. So scoops are like put in, I don't know.
It's kind of in a valley a little bit, and this one you have to hike up a hill. So, Wisdom Teeth, Swollen, Aidan was hiking up this hill, but I was grateful for it. There was not a single time during this that I didn't want to be there or I wasn't excited to do it. I don't want you to think that. I was excited the whole time. And then this is the last one. We originally thought that there might be 29 or 31 or 32. You can pretty definitively say that there's about 30 in Nevada or 28 in Nevada and 30 on the edge. This one right here, this is inside Wrestling Springs, along Old Spanish Trail, just above the spring. You can see that there.
For those of you that go south on the auto touring path,
Yeah. So that's the last one. We found 30. It was a huge effort from a lot of people, including Ashley as the main one. I have him to thank for letting me do this, but it was really cool. It was a great experience for me. I think it's probably the coolest Eagle project there is out there. I haven't heard anyone that's better yet, so just kidding. But it was really fun, and it was a great experience for me to learn a little bit more about Nevada history and just American history in general. So, does anyone have any questions?
Is this available?
This
I mean,
this
is
is,
something that if Mark's mod, so we can put a tour item?
we do have, I have the coordinate sheet that we've printed out. We made a spreadsheet of it with little descriptions, and that's something that I can print that out and I can give it to you guys if you like.
Of these projects, the different markers, how many have associated recreation amenities, and how many of them have associated interpretive information associated with it?
I have no idea how to answer that question.
Next project.
Based on your experience of being there, like if they're at Trailhead or in a city park, then they would have a recreation amenity.
How many have?
Maybe 10. One has a bar and grill.
Yeah, one has its own bar and grill. You're asking how many, I think?
Right.
Maybe 10 or so. Probably one out of every 3 has its own special plaque, or it's next to a building, or has a monument. Yeah.
On a follow-up, how many would you like to see an interpretive sign associated with it?
I think might be a little bit a hot take or a little controversial, but I like some of them that are a little out of the way, if that's not too weird. I think maybe if half of them had a really cool monument or kiosk set up next to them, that would be awesome. But like number 18 or 17, the one that was my favorite one, that was kind of hard to find. That a little bit made it cool for me, you know, having it be out of the way and hard to find made me feel like, you know, I can go and find these things, and this is not something that you see every day. So it's kind of in a dry lake bed in the brush. You had to walk a little bit off the road, but we were able to find it. A lot of these we actually used some binoculars for, because either the trail isn't there or it's just so hard to see that it can be pretty difficult to find. So as it's getting dark, my dad and I were looking through our binoculars, and I was able to spot this because it stands out a little bit. But here's marker 29. Background into this is the day after I just got my wisdom teeth out, and this is the second time that we were going out. So it was just getting dark. It was kind of getting a little more difficult to find these, and you can see that the sun's kind of going down right now. And I was taking pictures, and I tried to take one of me, but then I realized my face was a little bit too swollen, so I did not include that picture.
Jack Pritchett,
Yeah,
there is one of yours.
Yeah.
yeah.
I recognize it. You see the brush in there? That's the remnants of the old Spanish trail. So if you go to that location at Sandy Valley Road and Highway 160 toward Pahrump, you can actually stand and see where the old Spanish trail and Salt Lake to Los Angeles Road went. That's actually in a U, it's in a cradle. So you can see where the wagons went up. That's one of the last remnants of the road or trail that we were able to find along there.
Are we going to see that?
Now, one thing you've got to remember that each one of these is an Eagle Scout project.
Yeah. So a lot of these were done by previous. I think this one is a great picture too. This is marker number 20. This is on the same bike trail. The first one, 19, is as you come to the peak, and this one is kind of as you go down towards the bottom of the trail. This one's labeled, as you can see, this is labeled 21. So a lot of them are out of order, or are just marked wrong, but we'll be fixing that pretty soon. Here's marker 21, I didn't have the label right here. And this one is, I think, one of the most beautiful ones, especially with this outlook right here.
This is the one we had the off.
And this one's 16E. This one also is pretty close to where I live. There's my dad, how handsome he is. This Whitney Mesa recreational area, this one again is not labeled, so if you guys are walking through a park, you would probably have kind of a hard time knowing what it is. Most people wouldn't. But now you know. Now you know that if you see one of these and it's not labeled, it is part of the Old Spanish Trail. Here's number 17. This one's kind of going out towards Blue Diamond. This one is my favorite one, so I had to put my hat on top of it. This one it's labeled 18. This is the hardest one to find, or it was when we were trying to find it. It was just, maybe we were doing it wrong or something, because Ashley knows how to find it really well, but we had a tough time. And this one is we have very detailed notes on this one. North of Highway 160, just before the junction between Highways 160 and 159, out towards Blue Diamond, turn north on a dirt road, and you go down the road a little bit. It's kind of just the same thing, out there in the middle of nowhere. Number 18 is west of Blue Diamond Mine entrance. A lot of you might have seen this one before as well. It's kind of just right off the road. You have to walk through the fence and onto the reservation property to reach the monument. Okay. Number 12, you can see this is in front of the gas station at the Indian Reservation. Valley Fire exit, north side of I-15 near the end of the southbound on ramp. Here you can see a wonderful image of my dad's truck. It was kind of just a photo shoot for him. But that's another one of the old markers too. Number 13, north side of I-15, kind of in the middle of nowhere, as usual on the right side of the freeway. And you can see from this picture that all the monuments, or at least all of them are supposed to, the arrow points towards the trail, the direction of the trail. Trail marker 14, this is one that we were lucky enough to have a little kiosk right next to. This is in front of Love's gas station, across Highway 93. It's got the painted number on it. And there's an informational sign right next to it. Here's number 15. This one was knocked down a few times. This is northwest on Highway 91, about 1.6 miles. You kind of have to, a lot of these you have to walk off the road and hike towards it. And then now we're kind of getting into some of the ones that are here in Las Vegas. I think there's 5 here in Las Vegas. So each one of them is numbered.
And you'll see this at the old fort tonight when we had the barbecue.
Yeah, so we can point this one out. The ones in Las Vegas are a little tricky because they don't go in any real order, and some of them are misnumbered, but they're easy enough to find because they're at pretty trafficked locations. Here's 16, we'll call it 16A. This one is labeled 16, and this is